To piff or not to piff? That is what we're going to talk about today. And I'm going to tell you the way to think about paid in fulls or payment plans that is going to make you the most amount of money. You might think, well, that's just taking as many piffs as I can. Or you might think that is taking as many payment plans as you can, because the people that weren't going to piff, if I'm more happy taking a payment plan rather than trying to push for the piff and then losing the sale, maybe that's the way to make me more money. The answer is neither of those and both of those, because the level of thinking that you are thinking at as a closer is not a high enough level of consciousness, not a high enough level of bigger picture, more holistic way of thinking. And therefore, you are trying to use an operating system or a decision-making process that is so fucking basic that you're going to not make the right decision and also continue to keep making the wrong decisions because you have a model that you're using that doesn't accommodate for the bigger global system as far as the universe, spirituality, your identity, the human beings you're speaking with, that accommodates for variance. In other words, it's not just always do this or just always do that, but there is a way of thinking that gives you a philosophy that allows you to always make the best decision when it comes to going for a PIF or a payment plan that will guarantee that you make the most money. So in this video, I'm going to give you that mental model. If you don't know who I am, where have you been? Aside from that, my name is Josh Lyons. As a closer, I made a personal income, commissions every single month of $100,000 per month as a high-ticket closer. I then went on to train Alex Hormozi's old gym launch sales team. Within 8 weeks, I took them to their highest close rates in over a year, and I now run the Unicorn Closer Mastermind. So I have a lot of personal experience and a lot of experience training salespeople on how to perform at the highest level. And the one thing that you need to download into a human being if you want them to consistently perform at the highest level is not a tactic, it's not a gimmick, it's not a line-by-line, step-by-step blueprint, it's a way of thinking. Your mind is the most powerful weapon that you will ever have in your arsenal. And if you can equip your mind with a philosophy that allows you to navigate the various different circumstances that you're going to be in as a high-ticket closer, you will then have the best unfair advantage that you could possibly have. So let's get into it. Paid in fulls versus payment plans. I want to thank Mr. Zach Brown, who posted about this on Facebook, and I will paraphrase what he said because I think it was hilarious, but also extremely important. He said something to the effect of, if you are not constantly getting paid in fulls, then you are a dog shit closer. Now, Zach is the type of person that is very interested in ruffling the feathers of the high-ticket industry, which I think is awesome. I think it's hilarious. I think most people need to have their eyes held open with some fucking chopsticks because they're too ignorant and blissfully ignorant and unaware to even think things through for themselves. They just want mummy and daddy to come along and tell them what to do on a silver platter. On top of that, Zach has chosen over, I don't know how long he's been doing this. He does recruiting in the industry. He's focused on his Facebook of trying to bring truth to light in the high ticket industry. And that is exactly the direction that we're going to go in this training, which is head for the truth. So what do I mean by that? Well, the argument to paid in fulls is if you constantly get paid in fulls, then you're just a better closer. I mean, if you can get someone to part ways with more of their money or all of their money or even money they don't have, they had to put it on a credit card, damn, you must be fucking Jordan Belfort's great-great-great-grandson. You must be the incarnation of the best manipulator that's ever walked the earth and you are every part of their genes and genetics all boiled into one. The alternative is, what about payment plans? Well, the argument for payment plans is it shouldn't really matter about trying to force or push for a paid in full. If someone doesn't have the money, or if it's really going to stretch them too much, just go for a payment plan. And the argument is you'll probably close more sales that you wouldn't have closed if you pushed for a paid in full. So now you're going to make more money because you've got payment plans. Excuse me. The answer is both of those levels of consciousness, levels of thinking, are egocentric, are selfish, and are very low grade. If we looked at something like Dr. David Hawkins' level of consciousness scale, we have lower levels of consciousness, which are things like pride. We have higher levels of consciousness, which are things like peace, love, joy. In other words, higher level of consciousness is serving others, caring about others, living in a more aligned way. Lower levels of consciousness are what can this do for me? How do I get the most out of this situation for me? So if you're going for paid in fulls as a closer, and your mental model for why you should do that is, fuck it, I should just try and get as much money as possible. Very low level consciousness. If you're trying to go for payment plans because you're thinking, you know what, I don't want to put too much pressure on this prospect, so I don't care about how I feel about myself or how the industry feels about me if I'm getting all paid in fulls or a load of them or not. I'll just try and enroll as many people as I can on the easiest payment plan that makes it the most probable that I close as many deals as possible. Neither of those ways of thinking are how you need to think if you want to be a closer that could ever make $100,000 a month in commission. And here's why. To move from where you're at now financially to where you could be financially, one of the biggest paradigm shifts that you have to understand is that you have to care more about other people than you care about yourself. In other words, you have to do more of what's right for the other person. Now, what is right for the prospect? This is something that most closers haven't ever really thought about. It's not necessarily, did I enroll them or did I not enroll them? If the program's a fit, the right thing for the prospect is to just get them into the program and enroll them into the program. No. Again, that's linear thinking that stops at layer one. There is more layers to the way that you need to think if you want to serve people and if you serve people to make more money. The way that you need to think is, my job as a closer is not to just enroll as many people as possible who are a fit into the program. And I hope you're not trying to enroll people that aren't a fit. Let's not even get into that. I'll try and enroll as many people that are a fit. No. Your job as a closer is to try and enroll as many people into the program who are a fit at the level of commitment that you can maximally get them to show up with at the moment that they decide to enroll in the program. I'm going to say that again. Your job is not to enroll as many people as possible. Your job is certainly not to enroll people that are not a fit. Your job is to bring a human being to the highest level of determination and commitment to enroll in the program and maintain that level of commitment when they enroll in the program. So on that level of thinking, do you go for a paid in full or do you go for a payment plan? Well, the answer is it depends, because it's not just go for a PIF or go for a payment plan. It's what is the most amount of money that I can get this person to commit with by way of money that will force them into a position where their back's against the wall with the most amount of commitment to go into the program, to take action, to implement, to stay committed because they've invested a significant amount of money, but not so much, if their circumstances financially warrant it, that they're now anxiety-driven and stressed and neurotic. And so this argument on a lower level of thinking of, I'll just offer a really easy payment plan, 10-month payment plan, 6-month payment plan, 4-month payment plan. No. If someone has the money And it really is necessary that they enroll into this program and they take action. And they're really stuck and fucked in their life that the severity of them not enrolling is way worse than the investment. As a closer, you have a moral and an ethical duty to try and get that person to put as much money up front as possible, not so that you get as much commission as possible, not so that you can beat your chest and say, I'm a better closer than the closers that take payment plans. The reason is that the success rate and the success probability of the prospect is higher. If I have someone that has $10,000 liquid cash, they don't have anything else they're spending the money on, it's just sitting there, and my program is $10,000. We get to the end and they try and turn around and say to me, can I do a 10-month payment plan, $1,000 a month? I know it would be slightly different because usually payment plans are a bit more, but just for easy math. If I was like, okay, well, if that's something that we could do, is there anything else aside from that we need to cover? Nope, I'm 100% ready to go. Okay, beautiful. So if that is something that we could arrange, you're 100% ready to rock and roll and enroll right now. Yes. And then you as a closer think, oh, juicy, beautiful. I'll just take that, add it to my recurring monthly commissions for the next 10 months, and I'll just stack that 10K over a 10-month period. What happens? Prospect enrolls few days in, few weeks in, few months in, especially if it's a 10-month payment plan. They get to a point where life happens. They've got some other things going on. They have some mind viruses that come up. They think, oh, this is pretty hard. Like, can I actually build that e-com store? Or do I actually want to go out there and start dating again if you're selling a dating offer? Or do I actually want to really be doing the gym stuff and the check-ins with my health coach if you're selling a health offer? And lo and behold, because you fucked up and didn't care enough and didn't have the skills enough, internal skills and the ability to sell without a script at a much deeper level, you just let the prospect lower their level of commitment to themselves because of a very base, low-grade level of consciousness thinking through this problem of paid in full or payment plans. It's not like that, guys and girls. It is. I have a moral duty, an ethical duty as a closer to get this person to give me $8 grand, $9 grand, $10 grand, somewhere in that ballpark, because they have the money. They're fucked in their current position, and the probability of them having success in the program is significantly higher if I actually, quote unquote, push them to make a larger commitment. And so I love that Zach brought this conversation into the high-ticket industry on his Facebook page. And his argument was very leaning towards, you don't need to beat your ego saying that you're a better closer because you got paid in fulls. And also, you don't need to, think that you're a shit closer if you're not getting paid in fulls. Well, I actually think that's going to lean a lot of people in the direction of providing less value and service to the prospect by way of bolstering up their commitment and having the closers just accept lower payment plans. I don't want you to do that, because here's where everything gets real weird. When you start lowering your philosophy to push people to be higher versions of themselves, more committed versions of themselves, more brave versions of themselves. People that go, you know what, that's a fucking load of money, but I'm in. I'm all fucking in. Chips are in. Everything's on the table. I gotta make this fucking work. Backs against the wall. No parachute, no safety net, no backup plan. When you stop showing up as a closer that is committed to that level of ethical responsibility, you know what fucking happens? Your marketing tanks, your show rate tanks, you get dog shit prospects on the phone. Your self-identity, when you look in the mirror and you think for a few minutes, oh man, I'm so fucking good. I got that 10-month payment plan. Before you know it, you're like, you know what? I'm not sure if I actually did the right thing. I kind of let that person off the hook and kind of just let them enroll with a very low level of commitment. Yeah. When you're in the book Psycho-Cybernetics by Maxwell Maltz, your self-image is going to have more of an impact on your life experience and your results than anything else. Because if you can't look yourself in the mirror and say, you know what, I pushed that person to rise up, to step up, to level up, to push to be a better person on the day and just before they enroll into the program, when you can't look yourself in the mirror and say that, the universe doesn't give a fuck about your monthly commission goals. It's like, fuck you. I'm not going to send you a bunch of good leads. And you might be like, Josh, this is woo-woo as fuck. Fine. Believe what you want. Don't know anything about quantum physics. Not my problem. I will tell you now, having made $100,000 per month in commission, this stuff, the woo-woo, the fourth dimension as we call it inside the Unicorn Closer Mastermind, is way more significant and important than you even comprehend. Because you're just looking at everything on a two-dimensional, very basic level of consciousness. You're like one of those fucking meatheads in the gym that can only lift the weights and can't actually think through, you know what, I'm doing the wrong form, or I'm doing the wrong exercise, or I fucking trained chest yesterday and I'm training it again, or training biceps again. You're just a meathead because you're looking at things and going, okay, what text messages and what emails do I send to increase my show rate? And you're just looking at things so linearly, so basically. Instead of thinking, you know what, energetically, am I sending out a message to the universe that's in alignment with the universe sending me prospects that I can show up and serve? If the answer is no, if the answer is you're just taking the easiest bait that you possibly can, some 10-month payment plan or some 6-month payment plan, instead of pushing. And by the way, you have to know that you pushing for the slightly higher amount of upfront commitment could potentially cost you the sale, because it could get into friction. Person could say, hey, you're coming across very salesy. Why can't I just do a payment plan? You have to have the inner certainty, the inner conviction, the inner alignment and philosophy and value of knowing, and it has to be true, otherwise the prospect will sniff it out, and the universe, which is the all-seeing eye, Horus, top of the pyramid on a dollar bill for a reason, because everything's always watching. You have to have the certainty and the conviction that you're pushing for that person to pay more upfront for their benefit. Don't ever try and do this as a tactic. If you actually try and do it as a tactic, oh boy, your show rate is fucked. Your close rate is fucked. But if you do it genuinely, if you actually think, you know what, I could take the easy path, could take the easy way out, just take 6 payments of $1,500, whatever the number is. And you go, you know what, I don't think that's going to serve the prospect. And you mean it. You care. You love the prospect as another fucking human being. When you start doing that, the gifts, the power, the downloads that you start receiving from the universe are beyond your comprehension. Your ability to just turn up to your next day of calls and go, fuck me, everyone turned up. Holy shit, everyone just opened up and told me their problems. Wow, we had these amazing conversations. No objections. Closed. Paid in full. And you get those paid in fulls because of the times where you didn't slide for the easy option. If you want to be a master closer, if you want to be someone that truly gets rich, if you want to be someone that lives a life that most people will envy, if you want to master human beings, you first have to set the right foundations. And that foundation is the philosophy that the mental model that you need to be solving problems from is not, am I a better closer if I get a PIF? Or am I just going to make more money if I just accept some payment plans because it's less barrier to entry for the prospect? The mental model that you need to be operating from is, take me out of the equation, me the closer, you. What is going to give the prospect the highest probability of success? Not pushing them to put more money down up front, or pushing them to put more money down up front. And when you show up as the type of closer that lives by those standards, lives by those ethics, I am excited for the life that you will start to realize. Everything that you do as a closer, you need to be able to think clearly. You need to be able to think through these problems on the right plane of consciousness, not two-dimensional cause and effect, 1 + 1 is 2. You need to be able to feel and see the second-order consequences, the third-order consequences, the bigger knock-on effect, the butterfly effect, the snowball effect. if you don't have someone that's training you how to think on the bigger picture, the universe is shrinking around you. You know the phrase, the world is your oyster? You don't have access to the world, my friend. You have access to a tiny little fucking slither, because that's all God or the universe is going to gift you if the way that you think is on this level instead of this level. So if you want more in life, if you want access to what most people don't have access to, you first have to expand your consciousness. You have to expand the way that you think through problems. The way that I did that as a closer is having a mentor, having someone that had figured this all out by living the path to mastery. Not just the path to sales mastery, the path to life mastery, spirituality, health, relationships, high-value skills, all of those things. I wouldn't be able to communicate this to you today if I hadn't have been shown how do I need to make my decisions as a closer, not to care about do I get this sale on this one call or not? Do I get this sale to be a paid in full and more valuable to my bank balance? But to be able to look at things and say, who do I need to become so that the universe on a much larger scale is going to conspire in my favor? We teach a lot inside the mastermind about beliefs, and we teach those through specific training, but we also teach that through example. When you see my underground mentor communicate, he has a massive library of what are called golden rants. Things like I'm sharing with you, but better. And when you hear the way he communicates and the way he understands things by osmosis, which means by proximity, by being around someone like that and being in an environment where everyone is aligning to those higher ways of being, it rubs off on you. You change. If you don't have an environment like that or a mentor like that, you continue, as the phrase goes, to be like the people you most surround yourself with. And if the people you surround yourself with are not the people that you aspire to become, a mentor that you look at and go, wow, I want to become that person. I want to become the way they think, the way they act, how they feel on a day-to-day basis, what they've accomplished, their material possessions, the life they live, the character they have, the legacy they will have if one day they died. If you don't have someone in your corner to look at like that, you are not going to learn these lessons. So if this video resonated with you, not whether you should PIF or whether you should payment plan, but the way of thinking, the way of being, a new way of operating. If you're like, you know what? I want to commit to that standard. I want to live my life in alignment with those life principles, those principles of the universe. It's like they say, karma, or one of my favorite ones from the Bible is the Matthew principle. To he who has everything, everything shall be given. To he who has nothing, everything shall be taken away. If these principles that I'm sharing with you in this rant, this video, are resonating with you in your heart, in your soul, if you're like, wow, you know, I know I should be more. I should be a better person. I should change from just being tactical and transactional and trying to just strategize everything with my little SOPs and my do this in this situation, do this in that situation. If you are thinking, you know what, I want to become a king or a queen in my life that can actually holistically evolve, I invite you to click the link below the video and go to the Unicorn Closer website. When you go there, remember, you will face a decision. Do I enroll right now? Or do I delay? Do I procrastinate? Do I think about it? That is one of those first moments where you have to think, what is best for my prospects? What is best for my family? What is best for my friends? What is best for who I can choose to show up as that's going to have a knock-on effect karmically, spiritually, across the whole universe? There is a ripple effect that happens through your universe through the holographic universe that you are a part of when you make choices. And that ripple is going to push the things away that you are trying to attract, or that ripple is going to create a tide, a magnetism inside the tide that's going to pull everything you want closer to you. Every decision you make, every way you think is either pulling the things closer to you you want or stretching them further away. So think carefully and choose wisely. I'll see you in the next video.